Today we're not giving you an update on the Judicial Conduct Tribunal from the sitting after the tribunal adjourned for the day, after evidence leader Advocate Selby Mbenenge concluded her evidence or her cross-examination of Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge. Now, the Judge President was being probed on a number of disputed incidents or events that are alleged to have happened, particularly the incident of the 14th or 15th of November 2022, where he is alleged by High Court Secretary Andiswa Mengo to have attempted to expose himself to her in his chambers on the 14th or 15th of November 2022. Now, you'll remember that in May this year, we heard evidence from one of the officials in the Office of the Chief Justice that spoke to the footage of the 14th of November 3 years ago and spoke to the chambers of the Judge President and whether there was any movement there. Now, that footage does not show Andiswa Mengo actually going into the offices or the chambers of the Judge President, and only shows her walking in the corridors of the courtrooms. And so the evidence leader, Advocate Selby Mbenenge, says there isn't enough evidence or conclusive evidence to show that that incident, alleged incident, did not take place. You'll remember that earlier this week, when the Judge President began with his turn on the stand or in the hot seat, he showed the tribunal some evidence or the tracker report of the vehicle that he was driving in on the 14th and the 15th of November 2022. And he was able to account for some of his movements that day. On the 15th of November in particular, he says that he arrived at the court building around 9 a.m. and then left around midday. On the 14th, he says that afternoon he was at the bank and also delivered a lecture in the courtroom. He disputes the fact that, or the allegation that he tried to expose himself to the junior staffer around that time. But evidence leader Selby Mbenenge is not convinced and says there is inconclusive, or the evidence that he has provided before the fact-finding body is not conclusive, and that in fact there were moments where he was in the court building and his secretary, former secretary now, Zinhle Nqayi, was not with him. And so that is the dispute of facts that has been presented before, or that is before the fact-finding body. There's also the dispute of the alleged sexual or explicit images that the Judge President is said to have sent to the junior staffer. You'll remember that the Judge President admits to having desired or wanting a romantic relationship with Andiswa Mengo, who was 37 at the time, but disputes the fact that he sent her explicit content. He admits to having wanted her photos, and also saying that he would request that she remove her jacket in one of the photos to, what he says, appreciate her body or her structure. And so those are the instances that are in dispute before the Judicial Conduct Tribunal. Now, towards the end of the cross-examination, the WhatsApp messages or statuses of Andiswa Mengo, the complainant in the matter, were also thrust at the fore before the Judicial Conduct Tribunal. You'll remember that Andiswa Mengo alleges that the Judge President made unwanted sexual advances towards her between 2021 and 2022. Now, what happened towards the end of 2022 is that it's alleged that Andiswa Mengo then posted her conversations, or it's now common cause that she posted her conversations with the Judge President on her status on social media platform WhatsApp, where the explicit conversations between herself and the Judge President were now made public. The Judge President says that he is gutted by that, and in fact there was a meeting that was supposed to take place as a result of that exposure, where the Judge President then retreated, saying that he would not be accounting for the interaction that he had, because he alleges that those photos, explicit photos of his manhood, and also of a man performing a sexual act on a woman, were not from him, and that he in fact did not send those images. And so that is why he refused to participate in a meeting where this would be fully fleshed out. Now, the tribunal has adjourned. It is scheduled to reconvene on the 21st and 22nd of October this year for oral arguments, after which the tribunal panel will then consider the evidence that is before it before arriving at a determination.